How is it going, everyone? Dax here, and today we're going to be checking out another Sunny V2 video. This time, how James Corden destroyed his reputation. I personally don't dislike James Corden. I think he's become a bit fake ever since he's gone to America. But other than that, I don't dislike him. So, let's see what Sunny's got to say about him. So away we go.
James Corden has slowly developed one of the worst reputations in media history, and the foundation for—
Hold on, I'm getting a drink, sorry. Okay, I'm back, sorry. Like, one of the worst reputations? Really? I thought he's annoying. I don't think he's the worst.
his decline began when people started to realize that James Corden was a completely different person when he wasn't on camera. As an actor and the main host of the Late Late Show, James presents as a happy, polite, easygoing comedian who's—
See, actually, to be fair, this is what I said at the beginning. It's pretty much like, okay, so I saw him in a show called Gavin and Stacey, right? And the character in that is more like sarcastic, more doesn't really care about anyone, and that's what I perceived Mr. James Corden as anyway. So then when he went to America and started acting all friendly, bubbly, cheerful, I was kind of like, this ain't him. So this is just people seeing what he's truly like then, I guess, but they didn't know that.
Goal is to simply make the audience laugh, although there's a mountain of evidence showing that in his private life he's the exact opposite to this, with his rude nature developing after he first became famous back in 2008. As a result of his excellent performance on a British TV show called Gavin and Stacey, James would win the British equivalent of an Oscar, although accompanying this award was an ego boost that began to get out of control.
You can start to think you're perhaps a bit more of a dude than you really are, and that very much happened to me. You know, I had a swagger in my walk.
As mentioned, James Corden's sudden explosion into fame led him to believe that he was more of a dude than he really was, which would eventually translate into him treating everyone around him like garbage. James explained that as 2008 wore on, it got so bad I was being rude to my agent, and I even started being rude to Ruth. If I was in company and the conversation wasn't revolving around me, I would just switch off. In addition to being rude to everyone around him, Corden began to live a typically irresponsible, newly famous lifestyle.
I'd started going out quite a lot. This door had opened to this world that I thought looked like fun, where people go, you're amazing, you're great, can I have a photo? Do you want a drink? Come out with us. And so you just end up on this path of just 3 a.m. cab rides with people you don't know, heading across.
Joe, that's sauce as hell. Is this an AI talking this out from an article? Is he actually saying that? He kind of seems kind of robotic. I don't get it.
London to someone's house who you don't know either, with a group of people who think it's amazing that you're there. This is an intoxicating thing to be part of.
All of which being noticed by another Gavin and Stacey actor, Rob Brydon, who explained that when he first met James Corden 6 years prior, he was very impressed by him, yet after winning the Oscar award, James Corden was on a roller coaster. This boy from High Wycombe, and he's suddenly enjoying the fruits of his success, and he just lost his way for a bit. He was burning the candle at both ends and becoming ratty and irritable. James Corden claimed that his streak of irresponsibility came to an end after attending 18 months of therapy, although even after this, there were still countless examples of him treating people like garbage. For example, James Corden stated in a BBC 4 interview that he needed to bully his way to the top of the media world, which can be observed in certain events such as the time he'd get into a public argument with another incredibly respected actor, Patrick Stewart,
But I feel like Patrick Stewart was kind of wrong here. I'm not going to say... It kind of looked like he was picking on him for being a crappy host. But at the same time, that's the event organisers for choosing James Corden as a host, not James Corden himself doing a bad job. I don't know. I feel like... it's if you've watched the clip, they're pretty sure they're going to show it. It's kind of like, yikes. It doesn't need to be a thing. It's kind of yikes.
On stage.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh! That's like scolding the younger sibling or something.
You couldn't be more wrong, sir. And if
he sounds patronising, though.
I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it.
After Patrick Stewart would confront James about looking disinterested during the presentation, the argument would escalate in front of everyone.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on.
Dude, it's so cringe.
You can see my belly. And we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Which was concluded by James and Patrick bickering in the background while someone else was talking on the microphone. Now, to cut James some slack, Patrick Stewart was probably in the wrong here, considering he was the person who began the argument. Interestingly, after James Corden gave him a very favourable introduction.
What was really confusing about it was I gave him like a massive intro.
Yeah, I know.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an actor who's held in such high esteem. Please welcome the brilliant Sir Patrick Stewart. And then he came up and did that.
Although James still decided to engage and clap back with a few jabs of his own, so it's safe to say that he also had some degree of responsibility. There are other examples of
but you're not just going to stand like a wet
James
fart.
acted rudely, however, only after being provoked by someone else first. Countless paparazzi videos show James walking through Los Angeles looking quite angry and disinterested, although having a camera involuntarily shoved into your face probably doesn't facilitate the best environment for a good mood. There was also the time when Ant and Dec played a prank on James Corden, attempting to make him late for work, although considering they were literally going out of their way to make him angry, James probably gets an
Okay, this is kind of like the analogy of the bear. You know, when you poke a bear with a stick, and you're, why did the bear get so mad? It shouldn't have got so mad and killed me. But you know what I mean? That poking a bear with a stick. If you're going to annoy someone and deliberately upset them, then they're gonna explode. Don't get me wrong. He might be like ego trip Andy up here, but all of these examples pretty much have just summed up to someone already instigating towards him. And he's just retaliating so far.
Another pass here.
That's what I'm getting right now.
When James Corden would post
he's annoying as hell, don't get me wrong.
Reddit Ask Me Anythings in internet history, 3 fan interactions were highlighted, which James had absolutely no excuse for. Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friend sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles plus some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled dick who yelled and treated the wait staff like shit, and when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is this. Why did Harry seem so cool while you were such a massive throbbing bellend? This post was followed by another.
Wait, was that in a chubby way like a boozy panda? Why was that? What was that about? In a chubby way like a boozy panda. He cut that out.
Harry seemed so cool while you were such a massive throbbing bellend. This post was followed by another which read, I went to a James Corden live recording a while back. He had nearly zero interaction with the audience before/after the show and was on his phone entirely during commercial breaks.
I could argue that's a British-American difference. To be fair though, you are paying to be in an audience for an experience, so that's just bad on his part for being a bad host yet again, but it doesn't insinuate he's a bad person. His reputation's crap, I'm guessing, but yeah.
I guess that's his prerogative. He may have been having a bad day. I also realize it must be difficult to be on all the time, but I remember being extremely disappointed. By comparison, I've been to a Jimmy Fallon recording and a Letterman recording, and I can say with full conviction that those guys really seem like they cared about their audience.
They're born entertainers.
To entertain them, even while the cameras weren't recording, which was followed by one final anecdote reading, massive dick in person. I saw a league of their own filming live, through multiple tantrums over minor things at the production staff, with him being incredibly rude to them,
that's
which made the other
unexcusable.
regulars seem very awkward like it was usual.
But it is a
During
Reddit
each
post.
take, the other celebs would be chatting amongst themselves, bantering about. James was glued to his phone. At the end of the filming, people got up to go get pictures with James, and he massively kicked off shouting at people to go away and go back to their seats. And the few he did let have pictures with, he was moody as. Seeing him like that made me realize everything you see of his on TV is a complete persona. When continuing on through the AMA, it becomes pretty obvious as to why James Corden only answered 3 different questions before calling it quits. Why are you, James, such a deeply unpleasant person? Did your parents raise you that way? Have you ever considered being funny or likable? James, are you aware that everyone thinks you're a hack and a talentless asshat? With his third comment relating to the next reason behind James Corden's decline. Many of his on-screen performances have simply been terrible. A petition requesting that James Corden not be cast in Wicked the movie gained close to 110,000 signatures.
There was a
and after
Wicked
friends
movie?
announced that James Corden would be hosting the TV show's 15-year reunion, it received
Okay, yeah, I don't know why James Corden was the host for this. I didn't even watch this because I was like, I don't get it. They should have just done like a 1 episode, you know, like a 1 back episode, like what's happening now sort of thing. Not like a reunion, but oh well. But yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know why they chose James Corden for this. This makes no sense.
Twitter responses such as, don't get me wrong, I've been wanting a Friends reunion since 2004, but if someone told me James Corden would be in it, I'd have told them not to bother. James Corden adding the Friends reunion to the list of things he's ruined with his mere presence. Additionally, after starring as the main character in the 2019 film Cats, the movie received a 2.8 out of 10 star rating.
That's not because of James Corden. Though. That movie was arse.
on IMDb, as well as
movie
reviews
was
so
arse.
awful that James Corden didn't even end up watching the movie himself.
It became a
However,
meme.
James stating that he didn't watch the movie wasn't the only thing that was interesting about this interview, as he'd also discussed another topic which had turned much of his audience against him, his beef with another talk show host, Bill Maher. In September of 2019, Bill Maher published an editorial about obesity, with the contents of such being discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Look, you can't keep eating as much as you want and as shitty a food as you want. You just can't.
That is not something that anybody wants to hear, though.
People loved it until James Corden said something.
As mentioned, James Corden wasn't too happy with these comments and would call Bill Maher out by making both some reasonable arguments.
If making fun of fat people made them lose weight, there'd be no fat kids in schools and I'd have a six-pack by now.
As well as some awful ones, such as a zero personal responsibility statement that Bill Maher was simply lucky to have a body that burned more calories than him.
We're not all as lucky as Bill Maher, you know? We don't all have a sense of superiority that burns 35,000 calories a day.
Which Bill interpreted as the easy, low-risk way out of the argument.
With metabolism, is that what he's on about? He's on about like some people burn it more than others. I agree and disagree. I feel like I can't generally think of the word. I think a lot of food control is the main thing. I can't think of the main word they use for it, but I feel like if you have more control of what you're consuming, it's not easy. I think some people are luckier though with metabolisms, not gonna lie. Yeah, it's just the way we're built, innit?
He missed a great opportunity to literally save lives. He took the easy way out. Of course, you can always get applause for saying, oh, let's boo the mean man who's told the truth. That's not brave.
As is usually the case with these kinds of topics, there were supporters for both sides of the argument. However, as is usually the case,
Yuga has multiple fat shaming shows: surprised versus supersized versus super skinny, fat families, secret eaters. This shit would never fly in the US. I agree. Corden's attitude is very American, and I just bought her in general. 100% with Bill mine on this. Fat is neither beautiful nor healthy and never will do. Jesus Christ, Reddit just don't care, do they? Jesus. Yeah, that's nutty. We do have a lot of fat shaming shows in the UK. Not gonna lie, that's evident with the ones he named. But I don't think it's ugly, and I don't think it's not healthy. It's just depending on. It depends, doesn't it? It really depends on if it's healthy weight or unhealthy weight. You just can't judge, because you can be super skinny, right? Like the super skinny stuff. And you can, like me, I have the worst diet in the world, but I can't judge someone that's bigger than me because my diet is just as bad as theirs. So, I mean, it's more about health than it is about weight at that point. But let's continue.
These kinds of topics, there were supporters for both sides of the argument. However, James unnecessarily forcing himself into such a divisive conversation where people already disagree with him was probably a net negative toward his reputation, just like the time his
He got pulled into that. Okay, I feel like I'm defending James Corden. I don't give a crap about James Corden, okay? But I feel like everything that has been said in this video is either people thinking that he doesn't have a persona. Secondly, definitely him going from being British to fake American. Everyone states that. Like, he's completely changed. And then what was the other thing? Oh, the fat shaming thing. Like, the truth is, he's just annoying because he's on everything. If he calmed down a bit, went on less shows, and then wasn't in everyone's face as much, I think people would grow to like him again. It's just literally that. That's just literally all he has to do. It's just because he's everywhere, and because he hits the standard. People don't like family-friendly shows that much, so he hits the peak of family-friendly. Always invited to everything because he is family friendly, and some people just genuinely dislike that in people. So that I feel like if he just calm that all down, stop taking all the jobs, give it to someone else, and then focus on something extra cool that he wants to do, then do that. That's what I believe. But he's making his money and he's trying his best, so you can't fault the guy for trying.
Carpool Karaoke was outed for being fake. The segment during which James Corden drives around singing songs with various famous musicians was called out by a user on Twitter in early 2020.
I'm glad. If he was singing while driving, actually singing while driving, doing all this banging the steering wheel, doing all that crap, there would be a few dead people on the road. Not gonna lie.
They noticed Justin Bieber and James Corden
I'm
in
glad
a
it's
car,
fake.
which wasn't being driven, but rather being pulled on a trailer. The video would rack up over
ridiculous.
14 million views, which prompted an incredibly hilarious response from James Corden himself, in which he would go ahead and debunk the claim that the series had been faked.
95% of the time, I really am endangering the lives of the world's biggest pop stars. Here is a list of every
terrifying.
Carpool Karaoke where I've used a tow, and this is a list of everyone where I was driving the car, okay?
However, while Corden did a pretty good job of debunking these claims, there are still countless comments on every Carpool Karaoke from people who never saw the debunk calling the videos fake.
This is
all feels so
fake.
fake when you know he's not actually driving. Fake news, James isn't actually driving. James Corden, stop cheating people with your Carpool Karaoke. Can't believe all these celebrities put up with this fake show. Next time, at least drive the damn car. It seems like even when James Corden is in the right, his audience selectively decides that he's still in the wrong, which has also been speculated as part of the reason behind his recent announcement that he's leaving. Okay. On the 29th of April 2022, James Corden would upload a video to his YouTube channel titled James Corden Discusses His Late Night Future, in which he'd announced that he'd only be hosting the show for 1 more year.
I've decided to sign for 1 more year on the show, and that this will be my last year hosting the Late Late Show.
In a different interview, James Corden specified that his motive for leaving the entertainment industry was to spend more time with his family.
I don't want to do it forever. We're a really long way away from home, and we're a really long way away from people who are getting older, and we're a really long way from them if something should ever happen, and that plays on my mind a lot.
However, many have speculated that being such a disliked celebrity has put an unbearable amount of pressure on him, which becomes especially obvious when looking at the comments regarding his retirement. James Corden is a talentless bag of garbage. Goodbye, good riddance. Finally, we don't want him anymore. Ruins everything he's involved in. Probably one of the most annoying people in the business, it seems. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. With each of these comments being accompanied by flattering articles such as, farewell James Corden, you were an asshole.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's fair assumptions all around. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of it is extremely just based around him just being on everything. He should literally just leave for a bit and then come back, because he's just everywhere. When someone's too much in your face, it becomes annoying. And just calm it down, settle down. I don't know. I feel like when something's hype and when something's at the top, people like to shit on it to a certain degree just because it's hype and it's top. And then, yeah, it's just my personal opinion. I think hate culture is a big thing nowadays. It's more popular to hate on something than it is to agree with something. He's not my favorite person in the world, and I feel he's probably got a massive ego. But I feel like people should kind of cut him some slack at some point. Just some slack. I don't know, he's just a individual trying to make money in a capitalist country. It's just what you expect. I don't think he should have Americanized himself. I think he should have stayed British. Why go into America? He wouldn't have this this American persona of he's a great guy. It's like people like Ellen DeGeneres that got called out as well. Like, they have this massive persona that I'm so good, I help people, but behind the scenes it's just production. I'm rambling, bro. Let's just end this. I've talked way too much than I should have. This is a good video, though. I really like this. Sonny's done a really good job. And what I like about his videos, they're not biased either. He's just commenting on what other people said. Like, this wasn't tailored in a way to make it like, James Corden's the worst person in the world, and here's why. It was more tailored to the point. This is why people dislike James Corden. Very good video. Highly recommend. Okay, everyone, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you check out the original in the description down below. Enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, comment what you'd like me to react to next, subscribe if you're new or just haven't yet. I will see you in the next video. Laters.